Well, howdy, physics sleuths and inquisitive souls, and welcome again to another lecture in dynamic gravity. When I first set out to conquer gravity, when I was 18 years old, almost 20 years ago now, I knew I was going to succeed. I just knew it because I was never going to stop until I did. But never in my wildest dreams, until just this last few months, could I ever have dreamed that it would lead me to unlocking the secrets of everything, every secret, every mystery that we have in known physics. I have now conquered. Well, I say I, but truth be said, it wasn't me. I am just a drugged up, alcoholic, drug addict, bitter, ruined by war, and hated. And I hate everyone around me. I am not to be idolized in any way, my child. And I got on my knees and I begged God to reveal to me the truth. Nothing more and nothing less. And He has changed me in ways since that day. He has been so very kind to a dirty scourge like myself. The last obstacle I had to overcome was this one, was understanding the intimate and intricate structure of the electron and hence neutrino and even the photon. As of today, my theory, dynamic gravity, explains all perfectly. It is figured out gravity and can explain it to you on a subatomic level. I have figured out the math that calculates gravity, dark energy, and dark matter perfectly with the same equation, perfectly with observation, perfectly. I have figured out how the universe began. I have figured out what are electrons, neutrinos, and photons, how they're made and destroyed. I have figured out the next level of gravity, magnetic fields. I have figured out the size and boundaries of the known universe. And I have solved the cosmological antimatter crisis, all spawning from one seed, dynamic gravity. There really isn't anything left for me to figure out at this point. I don't even know anymore. I have conquered everything that God has set in front of me, thanks to His guidance. So think about that. When you inevitably, I know some of you will, think I'm bullshit and I don't know what I'm talking about, that I'm a loser and I'm just making stuff up. Look at all my other lectures. There's like 50 of them now that I've explained the various intricate working parts of everything of all of known physics. And I ask you to follow me down what may very well be our last rabbit hole one more time, my son. And it's going to be a long one. It's going to be a dark one. It's going to have a lot of curves and wondrous mysteries we're going to have to overcome on this rabbit hole. It may even get a little scary to the uninitiated mind. But if you get scared, don't worry. Hide behind me. I will protect you from the big bad nothingness and the shadows and the darkness. I promise. And when you emerge, you will know more about the universe than any human being in all of existence. Except for, of course, myself. Because while I may have taught you everything you know, I certainly didn't teach you everything I know. So let us go one last time. Got to get juiced up. Galaxy, baby. I figured it was appropriate. And of course, some good old root beer. And I want to apologize right now. I'm 100% going to cough an absolute ton this episode. I'm sorry. I can feel it. My drain damage from getting blown up in Iraq is triggering today. I've been smoking these bootleg freaking Chinese knockoff e-cigs, and it's killing my lungs. I have to quit that addiction too. So I apologize if I cough. You know I'm going to. I got blown up on Iraq. Sorry. Sorry that me serving and protecting you from the insurgents, I got injured. Now it annoys you. So sorry. But I am what I am, and it is what it is. And nothing can change that. So, shall we begin? Can't tell you how much I've learned by just Googling. Let's first get a very generic synopsis of the electron, because we have to kind of understand, right, what the basic understanding principles are. And there's a lot of good information about electrons out there, but no one yet so far has been able to put the pieces together and make the puzzle coherent until today, until me. So, electron is a lepton in the standard model, along with neutrinos. They're the same thing. I explain this in other lectures if you care. We know they have orbitals that they prefer due to the internal electron structure. A beam of electrons. Yeah, electrons can take almost different forms, almost matter and energy at the same time, or not. It's so weird. It's like they do whatever they want to do. But that's only because people don't understand what they are. I'm going to explain it in great detail. So much detail, I promise. This is going to be my longest episode yet. I can see it now. Quantum mechanics is done very good at explaining the electron mathematically, but they can't give any real explanation as to what it is. And this is one of the reasons why string theory came along, to try and, give us an explanation as to what the electron is. And fun fact, string theory is not that far off. It's not right, but it's not that far off. I was surprised on that. I was very surprised on that. I didn't think string theory would be even close to reality, but it actually is closer than you think. We're going to hit everything. Everything. We go on the leptons. So these are different from these. Now I haven't, maybe that'll be my next thing I try and figure out is quarks. This model, I'm not sure if it applies to quarks or not. I don't understand quarks well enough yet to really dive into that head first, but maybe I will try and figure out what quarks look like next, their internal structure. It's probably somewhat similar, but it may not be, because they are a different thing altogether. They're not leptons, they're different. So they definitely have some differences, but we'll see. I'm gonna try and take a look in that. We're gonna try. I'm gonna do the best I can. Yep, this is all. I think the electron was first discovered in like an oil vaporizing experiment back like about 100 years ago. Got electrons, anti-electrons. This will also explain anti-electrons to a certain degree. I really haven't even thought yet about anti-matter and how it relates into this yet, to be honest, but maybe that'll be another video we'll work out next time. Maybe there's always more rabbit holes. For every one rabbit hole you conquer, my son, there are two more that it leads you to. Choose wisely. So yeah, there's a lot of good information here. As you see, they know a lot about electrons. They've been studying them for 100 years. Electron beams, blah, 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 used in welding, lithography, beam processing, imaging, Yeah, that looks like about it. Some of the formulas. I really don't see that much math that they know. Motion and energy. There's really not that much math. I thought there'd be a lot more math with the electron, but I guess it's mostly quantum mechanics at this point, and nobody really understands that except for the people that have been taught to understand it. So maybe, yeah, I don't see any math. Interesting. 1/1836, the size of the proton. Wow, that's just crazy, the size difference. All right, so let's start with electron as an energy wave, okay? Quantum mechanics tells us, blah, 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 we've measured this too in great detail, that electrons have orbitals that they will take around the atom depending on the internal structure of the various protons, and the nucleus will determine what is equilibrium and what's the best thing for the electron, what orbital it's going to want to take to stay away from the other electrons the most it can, but stay as close to the nucleus as possible without touching because of the internal electron that the down quark has eaten. Down quark or up quark? Yeah, down quark. I think down quark is one that ate the electron. But maybe we'll go into that a little bit. Here is, I think, for hydrogen. Yeah, hydrogen wave function. You can see all the various places that the electron could theoretically be in this orbital or that orbital, depending. Oh man. Oh man. I totally forgot to show you guys what I was looking at. Okay, we'll go back over real quick. I'm sorry. We'll do this one more time. I'm sorry. Drain image. I'm all messed up in the head. So here's the electron on Wikipedia. We'll just shoot through it real quick. There's really no math. That's what I was surprised about. That's what I was talking about. There's no math. Just going into basic explanations of electron behavior that we know. You know, a lot of how it acts as a cloud or energy wave of some sort. Some quantum properties, blah, blah, blah. This is basically equilibrium states. I don't know what this is. Photons are made by electromagnetic interaction between particles and quantum electrodynamics. And electrons do make photons. They also make electrons as well. Don't forget that. Okay, and now here we are at the orbitals. As you can clearly see, it's just various blobs essentially, and a lot of times, and the electron could be in any one of these places for whatever orbital it is. Like if here's the 2 orbital right here, 3, blah, 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 2 and plus 1, 3 plus 1, and 0 on the outside, I want to say. And it just changes everything. And like I said, it's just the electron trying to stay away from the other electrons because they're like charged and they repel, and they're just trying to stay as close to the nucleus as possible. It's really not anything fancy. It's just geometric shapes that appear due to equilibrium. It's not anything special, really. Just understand that's essentially what it comes down to. That's all orbitals really are. So the electron finding the place that it has the least stress on it. Blah, blah, blah. But it just shows you that the electron, according to quantum mechanics, is this cloud, okay? Now, classical physics will say, no, it is a spot that can be anywhere in this cloud. But according to quantum mechanics, it actually is that shape and that cloud, and it doesn't go and revert back into a point particle until it's actually measured or used. And I'm going to explain that. Yes, I can explain that. I can explain everything. Stay with me. This is a long episode. You're going to get lost in this rabbit hole without me. Trust me. Stay with me. All right. So this is just a channel I love, Minute Physics, shout out. This one, they're just trying to show you, you know, the orbitals, but they're trying to give you an actual state as far as quantum classical physics and mechanics is as to what it looks like. And so they came up with this neat little thing. And this is the orbitals. As you can see, this is like the orbitals, just whichever one. But this one, they have all these points that signify where the electron would be specifically if you were to measure it, where it could be. So it's just kind of showing you a probability distribution. It's really, don't get your head lost in this. This is just, I'm just trying to show you, the general basic synopsis of, the electron theory, what we know, and how that's going to all get summed up with me, okay? Now, here's the problem, okay? This is kind of how electron theory goes, right? And quantum mechanics says that it's like this, right? Not necessarily like this, but like this. But as I've shown before in previous lecture, when we actually look at it, when we zoom in on a microscope, an electron microscope, whatever, this is what we see, okay? You see this honeycomb? You see how this line right here, can I make this bigger? Oh, come on, don't be mean. So this is the atom, this is a molecule they're looking at, a large molecule. Now, this line represents an electron bond, a covalent bond between two carbons, okay? And this line, which is longer, represents a hydrogen atom, a bond with a hydrogen stuck on the end. So we can see this is the structure of atoms when we look at them. And chemistry predicts, it says it has to be like this, otherwise chemistry would not work, okay? When we put two molecules together, we know it's going to happen because we know which particles or which atoms are most exposed and want to react the most, but it only works if the atom or the molecule is in a specific shape. If it's not in a specific shape, like quantum mechanics says it's not, then chemistry doesn't work. So we 100% know that quantum mechanics interpretation that the electron is a cloud until it's looked at is 100% not right because chemistry works. And chemistry would not work if it was like that. It would be impossible. So when the electrons are in an atom like this, they are a point particle, okay? They can change, and I'm going to explain this. It's going to get really deep. Don't worry. See, there's any other pictures here? I thought there were some other ones that were a little better to look at. Yeah, here we go. Let's see if we can't. Yeah, here is atoms, single atoms that they have manipulated. I think, are these atoms of gold or something? Yeah, they're atoms of some heavy metal, I'm sure of it. But as you can see, it just looks like a dot. That's all it looks like, is a dot, right? And they can move it. They're showing this, as they're making this little stupid movie made with atoms, and it's like some boy named Adam about his lost atom, whatever. It's a thing. They did this a few years ago. These are all atoms of gold, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see they just look like a circle, like a sphere. But we know that it can't just be a sphere because there's a lot of protons and neutrons in there, and there's a lot of electrons accommodating that in the outer shells. But when we look at it, when we try and measure the best we can, that's what we see is just a sphere. And I'm going to explain that too later. All right? I'm going to explain everything. We're getting there. First, I have to lay the groundwork, my son. So here we go again. Here's various molecules that they are measuring, reactant versus products, whatever. And you can see the structure is the same. You can see this 3 lines right here is 3 atoms, or not by 3 atoms, 3 electrons. That is a triple bond in chemistry. So that is 3 electrons that are holding this together. But as you can see, it's just like chemistry says. Like, no, it's not 3 solid lines all the way. It's 1 long line and then 2 lines on the outskirts of that line in the middle because of the repulsionary forces of the other electrons that it's dealing with. But that is a triple bond. That's 3 electrons there, and they just basically form 1 long line with a thick blot in the middle. Kind of weird, right? I know, it's kind of crazy. I think that's really about all. Yeah, here they're just overlapping, showing you the accuracy. It's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate. Chemistry is undefeated, son. 200 years and counting. Undefeated. Quantum mechanics ain't got a chance. Hate to break it to you. So, now, this, what is this? I don't even know. The chemical structure was resolved by atomic. I guess it's just describing the process. I thought this was something more, but I don't know why I put that in there. Sometimes you go crazy. Okay, so here's something we know about electrons. They have to be malleable, meaning flexible, okay? They cannot be rigid. When maybe when they're a point particle, they can be rigid. But we know that when they are doing chemistry like this, they're flexible, okay? That's 3 electrons, but one of them is stretched out, almost like a long line, okay? So we know that electrons can be stretched out like a line. We know they can take a point particle a position, and we know that they can also expand out almost to be like a cloud, okay? We know this. They can be those 3 different states, the same electron, depending on what chemical process it's undergoing or what, place in the atom it's going to. It can do 3 different things, at least, that we know of. So keep in mind, that is pretty much the only tenet that I went off of doing this. Was it electrons or malleable? All right? And I've been trying to solve this for the last, 2 months, I've been in deep isolation, meditating, and doing drugs all the time, thinking about this. And I was smoking huge, massive rip out of my bong, right? And I exhaled slowly, and a smoke ring came out. And it just kept itself together as it went away all the way to the wall. And I'm like, how is that so stable? How is that smoke ring so stable? And then it hit me. What if that is the shape of an electron? What if it doesn't have this solid shape of anything? It's just a smoke ring that's malleable, that can be squeezed and stretched and condensed, but yet it's stable remarkably, and it can hold itself together. Now, you might be thinking I'm cray-cray right now. Let me show you some things, okay? Here are some smoke tricks. Love that music, but I don't want to get copyrighted. All right? Look at this boy go. Okay, look at him go. So look at how stable that is, okay? It's so stable that he can destroy it, but it's still there, and it will recreate itself. Well, maybe not recreate itself, not that time. But you can look at that. Look at that. He's just manipulating it freely, squeezing it, compressing it, stretching it. And it doesn't care. It's stable. It's holding itself together with its own. Okay, because what a smoke ring is a vortex. And that is what electrons are vortexes. And what a vortex is essentially a wave, whether it be a pressure wave, like this smoke ring, or maybe an EM wave, like electrons, that is folded back in on itself, and now it is in a circular kind of motion, okay? And now it has rigidity, but yet it's also flexible and malleable, and it holds itself together. And what determines the stability of this vortex is how fast it's folding in on itself, okay? How fast it's spinning. That's what determines the stability. I'm going to show you some really radical shit here with Vortex. Look at that. Look at that. He just cut it in half, man. Cut it in half, and it magically looped, and it wanted to connect the loop to create the stable vortex with the way everything was spinning. Do you see that? It wanted to do that, okay? Now you see how it's dragging, it's pulling them, and it's pulling them around them. It doesn't actually want these smoke rings to join this smoke ring. If it gets too close, it'll like cannibalize it and malform it and deform it and make it go around it. But it doesn't want to connect. The vortex is happy being the way it was created. Vortexes are radical, man. Like this is insane, dude. Look at that. He just split it again. Just split it again. Look at that. He created a wholly different type of vortex that time. Like, that's radical, man. This dude, it's crazy. Okay, look at that. Look at that. I think he did actually get them to join. Hold on, let's see. Look at how thick it is and see if it actually... It looks like it did all join. That's incredible. So it can join. You can join two vortexes. I guess if you put enough energy into it, it wants to remain stable, and it'll have to keep that energy as long as you hold it right there. These vortexes are wild, man. Vortexes are blowing me away. And if this is what electrons are. I'm telling you, they're vortexes. We're gonna go so deep into this. This is just scratching the surface. I just wanted to show you some of the things that vortexes can do. All right. So you know when I say it's doing this or that, I'm not making this up. You see it right here. Okay. Look at all this stuff. Look at it. Just go around, man. Go around. Look at that. He steered it. He actually steered it. He pushed it around. And see, that one wanted to expand and get bigger, or the other one stayed kind of the same. So you can have all different types of work. He probably didn't have enough rotation on that one to keep it completely stable. And the rotation or the spin really does make a big difference in what you get. That's just amazing. Just look at that. Look how it goes all the way around. Now it's like a bubble surrounding it, but it's being fed back around the vortex. This is crazy. Wow. Just went all the way around it and then snapped down. And then a pressure wave sucked it back down. That's crazy. But a lot of these vortexes are created from pressure waves, like I said, folding back in on themselves. Our vortex electron is going to be from EM waves, okay? Okay, so that's good. See what this one is.
Welcome back.
Oh, this is just something else that I was looking at that really... I looked at a bazillion videos, guys, trying to see everyone's different takes on electrons and how everything works and everything. This is not something that I just got high and came up with when electrons are like vortex. I mean, it did go down like that, but after like 20 years of research, okay? It's not like I have no clue what's going on here, okay, guys? Now this, remember when I told you, the faster you spin a vortex, the more stable it is, okay? Now, you saw how fast this guy was able to spit out these vortexes with his mouth. And it would go maybe, what, 10, 20 feet? This one is done, I believe, from an explosion. I think it releases some gas in here, ignites it, and creates a very fast igniting pressure wave that comes out and then gets shaped by this long conical tube. And then this is what farmers use to break up clouds that they don't want to rain on their crops. All right, you see how he's shooting it at the clouds right now? and the clouds look like they're going to rain. He doesn't want it to rain for some reason. Maybe his crop needs to be dry right now. And so farmers will have these vortex cannons that will just create these explosions like every 5 seconds and just shoot out these vortexes going like damn near the speed of sound. And they're spinning so fast, they're folding on themselves so fast from the pressure expanding so quickly, they will actually go to the clouds up in the sky and still have enough momentum and energy to disperse and make holes, punch holes to those clouds, okay? And these are vortexes, my man. These are vortexes. Same as the other guy, just a lot more faster. Oh, did you see that? You see that? Like, you hear it? You hear that? That thing's breaking the sound barrier, dude. Going to the cloud. It's breaking the sound barrier. Going to the cloud. Okay? So just keep in mind, the faster you spin a vortex, the more stable it becomes. Did you see that? Did you see that? Let's see if we can't slow this down. Playback. Yeah, even half speed, it's only there for like a second. You see that vortex though? Look at that. Boom. Right there. You can see it. Plain as day. It's a vortex, but it's spinning faster than the speed of sound, and it is going to the clouds, my man. And it is going to break them up. That's what farmers use. That's the power of vortexes, all right? So when keep this in mind, okay? when they shoot electrons into things really fast, that vortex, the electron vortex, is going infinitely way faster than that, okay? Way faster than that, like rotation-wise and speed-wise. And that's the reason why they're so stable. That's why you can bounce electrons off things and they don't break up. Well, I mean, they do break up, but when they do break up, they would turn into a photon, like an energetic photon. We're going to get into that too, okay? We're going to get into everything, I promise. Okay, and here is Wikipedia's page on the vortex. There's really not much here, dude. It's almost like vortex are secret sauce, smothered in enigma, you know, served with a side of mystery. The right-hand rule, while its length is twice the ball's angular velocity, mathematically the vortex is defined as a quarrel rotational or velocity field of the fluid. Concept and dynamics of vortices expressed by change of something, I don't know, over U. I don't know, what is U represent detonated by? U is the local flow velocity. Okay, I'm not even sure what they're talking about. Here's different vortex types, okay. I'm pretty sure it would be a rigid body vortex because the speed permeability for electric force and magnetic force are the same. In the vacuum, it's basically the speed of light. So maybe it's not the speed of light, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it would be a rigid vortex if we had to choose one right now. This would probably be more with fluids involving, you know, pressures and stuff. They really don't have that much vortex formation on boundaries. Blah, blah, blah. They can be formed via a phenomenon known as boundary layer separation, vortex geometry. Yeah. I mean, I really don't see too much here that is going to elaborate on a vortex that could be used as an electron. Artificial gravity. Interesting. Yeah, so anyways, vortexes of polar regions of the islands, foreign vortex streets form of the islands of Tristan da Cunha. Interesting. Okay, so there's really not much good information here. I just want to hit it because you know me. I love to hit up Wikipedia and see what's going on the pulse of mainstream science and see how far they are and where they're lacking. All right. Now, full disclosure, definitely if there is any one person, if there's any person in the world right now that is not me, and you could maybe even argue Nikola Tesla, but not so much, that has any claim to anything related to dynamic gravity, it would be this lady, Sabine Hasselhoff, all right? And she hates me. Like, she won't even respond to my email. She doesn't care. But just so you know, I could not figure out the math of dynamic gravity. I couldn't do it. I spent 10 freaking years. I couldn't do it. I was trying to take an Einsteinian approach and use a general relativity framework approach, and I couldn't do it. And I watched a video. I watched all Sabine's videos, and she had a video on Coulomb's law and how it relates to gravity and how it's similar and how it tripped her up and made her think that there was a theory of one where everything added up to one. And I'm like, I had no clue that formula even exists. I don't remember ever seeing Coulomb's law. Even back in all my years, I probably saw it, just didn't know what it was. But I said, that looks like gravity. And then if my theory of gravity is right, that formula is exactly what I've been looking for. And so I played with the formula, and I was able to plug in the proper numbers and modify it for gravitational use and not just use at a subatomic level with electrons and protons. And as luck would have it, I just happened to pick an object that gave me one. And I'm like, Sabine was talking about one. What the fuck is this? And so I started playing around with it, and I came across a lot of dead ends, but I didn't quit. I wouldn't stop on the math because I knew there was something there. I just had to find it. And after a couple weeks of tinkering and thinking that I failed miserably and blah, 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 it all just emerged that what I'm getting is a ratio, not a unit of force. And once I figured that out, and was able to apply it to the unit of force, Newtonian gravity, or Einsteinian if you want, then everything just snapped. And from that day on, I've just been on a burn, just on a tear, with dynamic gravity conquering everything. But it's all from her. It was all from her video just showing me that relationship and talking about how it tripped her up with gravity and how she failed miserably to rectify it, and me believing wholeheartedly there was something there. If it wasn't for me watching her video, I still this day probably wouldn't have accomplished anything in dynamic gravity except for the main basic theory, which you can see in my first video I made like 12 years ago on my channel. my very first video. And then she made this video, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, 1 month ago. All right. And this one she's talking about
on the equations of electromagnetism 150 years ago.
She's talking about an experiment that they did where, look at this.
Vortex rings are fascinating phenomena that we are most used to seeing in water or air. These vortex rings in water contain air bubbles,
she is talking
which makes them visible.
About vortex rings, all right? And how remarkably stable they are and how they can carry so much energy. And then she goes on to talk, what is this? Vortex rings, yep, from planes and everything. Yep, all different vortex. And then she goes on to talk about an experiment that was done. All dolphins making vortex rings. Where, this is the experiment, they basically were able to link the electric force with the magnetic force and a horn-shaped antenna with, like, I don't know, some twisting oscillation force, whatever. And it was able to give the electric force and magnetic force the ability to somehow latch on and fold in on itself and create a vortex. Now, maybe not a vortex considered like an electron, but definitely very, very similar, okay? And
centimeters, so it's about the size of a pizza, except if you live in the United States, where pizzas are about...
Yeah, so she said this vortex that they made, they were able to make it go like 20 centimeters and, you know, have radical energy that it could carry, and because it's so remarkably stable. But nobody was able to figure out, well, hey, if we can have a vortex with the EM field, maybe that is what an electron is a vortex, okay? But yeah, just so you know, man, Sabine, 2 times, 2 of her videos have given me huge, monumental insight into radically developing and pushing dynamic gravity. If there's anyone that has any claim to make to dynamic gravity besides me, it would be her, 100%. 100%. But she won't even talk to me. She refuses to talk about dynamics. She doesn't care. She spawned part of this theory in a way, and she doesn't want anything to do with it. She doesn't want anything to do with me. Go figure. Is what
Pizza,
it is.
except if you live in the United States.
So anyways,
it uses the same.
That's that. And here is the actual paper, just so you guys know, of this experiment that she's talking about. This is the actual paper. I found the paper. Maybe she just gave it to me on her video. Of them actually doing the experiment and everything. Here's the antenna, blah, 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 structure of broadband conical coaxial horn antenna, blah, blah, blah. Here's the experiment setup, as you can see. Transmitter, receiver, I'm assuming. Yeah, looks like these are the actual measured special characteristics of the position of broadband conical horn antenna. Interesting. Gigahertz frequencies, that's pretty fast. Yeah, yeah, man. This is a whole thing. So if you think that I'm making stuff up when I say that the electromagnetic force can become a vortex and fold back in on itself, even though it is not a pressurized fluid like a typical vortex in air or underwater, no, this is proven fact. Okay, I'm not making this up. I'm not extrapolating. Okay, this has already been done. I'm just pitting the pieces together to form a coherent picture of this puzzle that we call physics. And this is the final picture, the final piece, pretty much, that I have to put together to complete the picture where we can see the whole damn universe. It is what it is. Yeah, hi, that's me. I'm the guy. So, excuse me. Apologies, drain bandage. Yep. Magical simulation, conical twirler free. I don't see anything else here that, looks really too much. But just know, this has already been done, okay? Now, this brings into us a different type of magnetic field, okay? Normally, when you have a magnetic field, I probably should have looked this up before electromagnet. Let's show you guys what I got. So, as you can see, man, maybe you can't see. Wow, that sucks. How far to lower this a little bit? There we go. Okay, sure. You know what? I can do better. I can get a better picture, right? I can get a better picture. Maybe I can't get a better picture. Maybe that's as good as it's going to get. Figures. So, this is a typical electromagnet, okay? I believe it's called the solenoid. You would have a wire wrapped around your little iron core or whatever. And then your current is running this direction. Your electricity is running this direction, going around in a circle. And the magnetic field is confined inside this circular thing, okay? And then it breaks open and then reconnects, or whatever, it goes around from north and south poles because the looping is. But if you were to have a have this solenoid keep going all the way around and loop it like a vortex and keep wrapping all of the wires all the way around it. This is a regular right-hand curl roll of magnetic line or magnetic wire. Here's what we're looking at. It's called a toroid. Okay? This is probably, I believe, what's going on with the vortex of the electromagnetic radiation. Okay? You see, the current, the electricity, the E field, is going like a solenoid, only everything connects. And so what this means is that B is the magnetic field, okay? And so the magnetic field is 100%, completely confined inside this freaking, my freaking nose is running. Inside this freaking toroid, okay? Now, we're going to think of this as a vortex of electromagnetic radiation, okay? Where if the electric field is going and making a round, like somehow, some mechanism where every time, let's say, the electric field spawns, right? And then it will spawn a magnetic field in a certain direction. And then let's say that magnetic field spawns, let's go. Oh, this is my war drone. Oh, the Cobra drone. Ooh, that was a scary episode. Let's get rid of this. And let's come here. Okay, so let's say that we have a blob here. Okay, this is an electric thing, whatever. And let's say our blob is moving. It's going, okay? And as it is spawning, let's just hypothetically, I don't know if this is exactly how it works or whatever, so I'm just kind of showing you. Let's say as it's going, it's spawning this direction, a force of magnetism, okay? The B field. It is creating the B field. Actually, the B field would be all around it, technically, or around it. But let's just say, for simplicity's sake, you understand. So the B field spawns, right? Well, according to Maxwell equations, when you spawn a B field, you spawn an E field, an electric field. Magnetic field creates electric field creates magnetic field. It's almost like self-perpetuating infinity. So this spawns, right? But because of the right-hand rule, let's say this one spawns this way, okay? Let's say it spawns an electron this way. All right? Now, this electron is now going this way, okay? So now it is going to want to spawn this, or this electric field is going this way, so it's going to want to spawn the B field this way. Boop, boop, boop. Which now, let's say, spawns the electron, or electric field going this way, which now we're right back where we were before. We just made a whole loop of self-perpetuating, self-sustaining loop that fits itself together. It holds itself together as it is creating itself perpetually, infinitely. Now, I want to pay a disclosure on this. I have not confirmed this yet, if this is exactly what's going on, but I believe this is kind of the mechanism that is locking the photon into a vortex and hence allowing it to fold back on itself, infinity, creating what we know as the electron, okay? Let me see here. Looks like a toroid. Where are we at? Yeah, so here's the toroid, okay? So, but just keep in mind, if that's what's going on, this is a very efficient method because essentially all of the magnetic field is confined within the outer perimeter of the electric field or the current coming around here. That's what makes this toroid so special. It's like imprisoning the magnetic field. And you can do this vice versa too. You can have a magnetic field go around and create some sort of electric, a toroid. You may not believe me yet, but I'm going to show you. We're getting there. Okay, here is a tokamak, the fusion reactor they want to do. Well, guess what? Guess what it is? It is a toroid. Look at this. The electric field goes this way, and the magnetic field goes this way. It is this. That's all they're creating, is a toroid, a tokamak. And the stellarator is just a toroid that's been twisted and bent to try and force the plasma into concentrated areas every chance it gets as it flows around the magnetic field, this magnetic field in here, okay? It's all a toroid. It's all, you could argue a vortex, yes. You could argue it as a vortex of types, in a way, okay? Here's another one. This one's a stellarator. Yep, toroidal coil, boom. So you know I'm not bullshitting, I'm not making this stuff up, okay? Now, I said that it can go by both ways. The magnetic can create a loop of electricity, and the electricity can create a loop of magnetism. Don't believe me? Here we go. Booyah.
This is a plasma toroid generator, a desktop device that generates
a plasma toroid generator. Okay? Now look at this. What he's going to be saying here is that basically
stronger magnetic field down the center of the coil of wire. This is the coil that I was talking about. This is
the coil of the electric field going through there. And as it goes back and forth, it creates a magnetic field around these coils that are going, okay?
Is the oscillator circuit that switches current back and forth through these coils, and since there's current changing, that means there's a magnetic field.
Yep, AC goes this way and this way. AC is great for creating magnetic fields. DC, not as good.
Around these coils. And that magnetic field is also changing in size. That's what I mean by changing. I mean, the strength of the magnetic field is constantly changing.
Yes.
And since that magnetic field is constantly changing, it's going to create another electric field, one of its own. And the shape of that electric field is going to be in a ring. Sound familiar?
So remember, you start off with an electric current, an electric field, that then spawns a magnetic field that then spawns an electric field in the shape of a toroid, essentially, a ring. And it is very flexible. It's not just very rigid. But I'm going to do a video on this. I've been working on this for a while. I'm having problems with my high voltage power supply and creating certain things. But I am going to release my work on this stuff soon that's going to add proof to my theory of gravity. Hopefully, I'll be able to generate some sort of anti-gravitational effect. We'll see. But
should have known, but I didn't. I thought it was the magnet. And they'll
so there you go. Now, I want you to know, this ring right here, this vortex of plasma, of ionized gas in a vacuum, not a perfect vacuum, this xenon right here, it's very stable. It's a vortex. It acts like a vortex. So it can move around.
The electron will fall
it can
from
do stuff. It won't break. It's very strong and rigid.
Light. That is why the plasma is glowing. Because as you can see, the ring got squished.
Yeah, we'll go off into this another episode. But I just want you to know, it can go. It either can spawn either in to make a vortex. Okay, it's not just this way for a vortex. It could also be this way, which means it's entirely possible. Maybe it's making a double vortex, making it double strong. I doubt that's the case, but who knows, man? We're so far deep in the rabbit hole right now, we can't see anything. So, just know though, look at how stable that is. That is a ring, a vortex, man. It's a stable ring or vortex, okay? Now, Okay. I've pretty much done showing you the slideshow. Now we are going to go by the notes I wrote and get a lot more technical. I just wanted to show you the proof of concepts and how everything fits together. Now we're going to start addressing the nuances, okay? So we're getting there. We're getting there, my son. We're getting there. Give it time. Give it time. Trust me. Give it time. We're getting there, okay? Okay, now I got to read this, okay? Make sure I didn't miss any points because there's so much stuff that I had to write everything down. Okay, Toros. Okay, yep. We went over that. Okay, yeah. Okay, it's something I did not cover, all right? Now, whenever you make a vortex, you have to have, let me see if I can find this video here. This was a super fantastic video. And I totally forgot about it, probably because I suck. Colliding with the wedge. What is that? 3D shock bubbles interactions. Okay. Okay, yeah. I definitely missed some videos. Okay. We're gonna try and check out these videos, see what we got here. Just a shockwave. Just it's showing you some vortexes are created. This is from shockwave stuff, though. This I don't think would be, easy to plug for instruction. I don't think this would be anything of our thing. Now here we go. Okay.
Here at the RI recently, we've been having a lot of fun with smoke.
This is the video I want to show you. Okay, this is what we got to talk about right here. Okay. Now. Yeah, I'll just start with this. Okay, this is more 3D shock stuff. So you can see this is a vortex at Mach 3. Show you it's going very, very fast, like 3 times the speed of sound. Look at that. Look at how many vortexes it forms. Look at how many vortexes it forms to go with the main vortex. It's like vortex on top of vortex on top of vortex. So when you have a very strong force going like this, it naturally, its most favored condition appears to be vortexes. Okay, not circles, not spheres, not blobs, whatever. Vortexes is what seems to nature wants to create when it's under intense pressure like this. Okay.
Here at the RI,
this is another.
To start with, the smoke is basically a fast-moving ball. As it emerges through the opening, the smoke on the outside of the ball is being slowed down because of the friction.
Doing. You see what they're doing. I want you to look at this. This is important. They're holding this thing and they're pulling back a balloon rubber band thing and letting it go and pop. So you got this quick pop motion, okay? Pop motion. That's what creates the vortex, is the pop motion, not the slow, gently pushing. You have to have the pop, okay? And then it has to be shaped just right.
Between it and the edges of the hole.
Why is this important?
Once it leaves the cannon, there is friction at the ground and form a mushroom cloud. As the smoke
spinning
reaches
back
the
in
back
on itself,
of the cloud,
that's all it's showing you. Okay. Now look, she's popping it. And look how far that vortex went. It went across the entire room. Look, she popped it, and it just shoots across the entire
and the air in the room.
And hits someone. Just hits them. All right? Now, the reason why I wanted to show you this. Let's see what this one is. Vortex in slow motion. Oh, he's going this in slow motion, yeah, so you can really see how things fit together. Look at that. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? Look at that. He even lit it up with lights too. Okay, the reason why I want to show you this is because when the electron is created into a vortex, okay, let's start. Let's show you what we're looking at with the atom. Okay, the atom is always an electron. Okay, an electron. And since we're going to say the electron is going to be a point particle, we're going to explain this, when it is under stress by protons, okay? And what a proton is 3 up quarks. It's 3 up quarks. One up quark that is touching at any given time this electron. And then 2 more up quarks that want to touch it, and they're fighting for it, okay? And when it touches, it becomes the down quark, okay? It goes from up to down whenever it touches the electron, okay? Because it neutralizes that quark a little bit and allows the other 2 quarks to come into it and try and fight for that the attention of that electron, okay? That's what a proton is. Mainstream science hasn't figured that out yet. They don't know that a down quark is just an up quark that ate an electron or is trying to eat an electron, in the process of eating an electron. They know, you can look it up, that when they collide down quarks in particle accelerators, one of the biggest pathways that come out is an electron and an up quark. When you crash down quarks into stuff, you get out of it an up quark and a down quark. But they think that it turns into energy, and then the energy dissipates into that. They don't understand yet that that's what it is, and it can turn into other things when you throw added energy into it, of course, because energy can create all sorts of crazy things. But that is what an up quark is, and once you understand that, everything will start coming into play with dynamic gravity. That is a proton. 3 up quarks fighting for 1 electron. And then, because the electron is 3 times as powerful, it still wants to, these guys still want more. They want another electron. So now we're going to have an electron, let's say, that is going to be in the outer shell. And it is going to be in the shape of a vortex, okay? A ring. Whenever, let's say there's a lot of pressure on this electron, what it's going to do, whenever the vortex is malleable, you can squeeze it and compress it. That's what happens. The pressure of all the other electrons pushing on it and the protons pulling on it literally collapse the vortex into a point particle. But it's still a vortex. It's just so tiny. This hole is so tiny and everything is scrunched up so tiny, it's essentially a point particle at that point. But as soon as it goes away from being like this situation, so like say a valence shell, now it's going to be a much more giant vortex. It's going to, depending on the circumstance of the atom and how everything it fits together, it's going to determine on the shape and the size of the vortex. It is entirely possible that a vortex, like if we look at some of these things here, like in hydrogen, that's how I say it, don't hate. Okay? Some of these are rings. It could be entirely possible that the vortex is most favored equilibrium position is just a ring around the proton or the nucleus, in a certain degree. And that the vortex could actually be because it's further away, it could be expanding out to actually cover this entire area. It is entirely possible, and I'm trying to tell you that this is not this. Where they said, no, think of it this way. Think of it like a probability. Where it could be that, I don't know. I'm just telling you, quantum mechanics might be very right when they say, no, we believe the math says this is what the electron looks like until you measure it. This is the shape it's in, dude. We don't understand it, but that's what it says. This theory, vortex electron theory, can now explain that. And everything, we're getting there. We're getting there, I promise. We're getting there. This is going to be cray-cray, son. Cray-cray. So, this could actually be a vortex that's expanded out and blown up because it doesn't have the pressures around it, okay? And so, when it doesn't have any pressure at all, when it's not even associated with an atom, and you just have free electrons, they're just being shot out into a vacuum or something, well, now this vortex could look something more like this. It could look way bigger, okay? And this is all the vortex. All this stuff in here is the vortex, just spinning, making spinning and spinning and spinning, okay? And just so you know, here's the vortex, right? I don't think that it's spinning this way, okay? I think it's spinning, let me just, this is so ugly now. I messed it up. I know, I'm a loser. I suck, I'm sorry. Okay? I believe it's spinning this way, like the E field. And so we have a toroidal thing, okay? We have a toroidal thing. Like this is the direction of the spin that it's going. Not this way, not in a circular motion around the core of the vortex, but it's actually going, spinning in a way to make it look like toroidal, that the field is going this way and the other one just goes this way, okay? Which one is which? I don't know. Probably like the toroidal, probably the electric field surrounding the magnetic field, but I don't know, man. We're so far deep down the rabbit hole. Mainstream physics, if they don't listen to me, it's going to take them another 100 years to figure this shit out, dude. That's how retarded they are. I'm sorry, but they are, okay? And it's all the string theorists. It's all the string theorists that are gatekeeping everything. And they say, wait, it's not string theory. It's bullshit. I don't want to do it. That's the reason why I published my theory of dynamic gravity. The only theory of gravity in the whole world that can perfectly calculate everything and explain everything. And every observation we've ever made, it perfectly says why that is. But yet, I've only got 100 fucking people to even view it. Because the gatekeepers don't want my theory out there. Because it's not string theory. But the sad thing is, I have to admit, they are partially right. The toroid, or my bad, the vortex is a loop, a string, just like they say. The string theorists say that, it's stupid string theory. It's saying, an atom could be like this, and it's vibrating at this frequency, or it could be, they could loop, and it's oscillating at this frequency, and that could make this, when it does this frequency, then it could make this. No. But their inclination and their math in saying that electron, at least, leptons, at the very least, possibly bosons, I don't know, but at the very least electrons, or leptons, yeah, they're not wrong when they say it is a loop, but not a loop, a vortex. So they say it's this, but in actuality it's this. Okay? So they're not that far off. Okay? And maybe that's why they're so ballsy and gutsy to think that they have all this audacity that they know everything. Stupid scientific dynamic gravity. Go back and clean toilets. That's what you losers. So, just know that. That's important to know. And I do apologize. But my original point was, I'm so sorry, I'm losing my place. I need drugs. Okay, so here's what happens, okay? Let's go ahead and delete this. I don't want this clutter messing up my diagram, okay? So here's what happens. As I explain in my deep dive into photons, and even I think another video too, this is how photons are made. And electrons, okay? This is an important concept. A photon, let's make a photon. Boop, boop, boop. It's a beautiful photon, I love it. A photon will go and hit the electron. Not this. I mean, it could hit this, but it hit the electron because the electron is probably because it's in a valence shell. It's the vortex is all swelled up, and it could even be enveloping half the damn atom. Who knows how big this thing is? Quantum mechanics might be spot on with this, okay? And so it hits this, and then maybe it turns into a point particle when it's being energy forced into it. And then it will do a higher energy state, because what this photon is doing is changing the charge. The photon is a charge, unit of charge. I know they don't have charge. It is, so trust me. It's a unit of charge, and when it hits this, it changes the charge of the electron, making it more negatively charged, which now makes it more energy and strength to get closer to the atom. And as it gets closer to the atom, and it's devouring this electron, it now will create a new electron that's identical to the one that it devoured, and it will spit it out, okay? Only this is wrong. This is what I told you how it worked when I did my photon deep dive. I have to address this now. Out of 50 episodes of me explaining every known thing in physics, this is the first time I have to recant and backpedal and say that this is probably not how the photon is actually emitted. It is, but not the right-hand rule where it shoots off of the side like this, okay? We're going to go into this. This is going to be... Oh, fuck, this is going to be the longest episode ever. Let's do it. Now, one of the things I taught you is that the wavelength of an electron is just smaller than the wavelength of a gamma ray, the highest energy photon possible. You cannot make any photon higher than a gamma ray, because if it were, it would just turn into an electron. Mainstream science doesn't know that yet. I'm telling you this. This is the way it is. So, if it goes slow, when this thing goes at a certain speed down, bloop, bloop, it will emit a photon of various energy signature wavelengths depending on how much energy is put into it, how much charge distribute is put into it, and how fast and quickly it went down and up back to its reset position. Okay? Now, if it goes maximum speed possible, which would be, the fine structure constant, which is, I believe, I don't know, I haven't seen it in a while, 1/137. Every physicist has wet dreams about knowing what this number is. I'm telling you what it is. It's a ratio to the speed of light of how fast the electron moves in the presence of the proton. Okay? And it changes depending on how far away it is. But 1/137 is the speed of the electron traveling around the proton, I think, in hydrogen. We've measured this. This is a fact. I didn't make this up. Okay? I'm just putting the pieces together, dude. So, the maximum speed this electron, vortex can go in the presence of this proton is 1 divided by 137 the speed of light. Okay? That's how fast it can go. The electron won't let it go any faster. The proton won't, because it requires too much energy to accelerate any faster. Just like the particle accelerators, they have to dump all this energy to speed up the electron, to make it go faster, make it go almost the speed of light. They have to put so much energy into it because it doesn't want to go that fast in a protonic field, which guess what? Gravity is a protonic field. Hate to break it to you. So, that's the way it is. So if this goes to maximum speed, 137 down, bloop, bloop. What pops down, and it goes to maximum distance over the whole width of an electron, bloop, bloop. What it pops out is not a photon, but an electron. Okay? So think about that. The maximum energy that an electron can release is another electron. Electrons begat electrons. And I got a question for you. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Yeah, cool, obviously the egg. And then it evolved. But let me ask you this. Which came first, the electron or the electron? I have no answer. I don't know. So, bloop, bloop. And it shoots out this bad boy. But it doesn't shoot it out, but we're going to explain this, okay? Bloop, bloop. Oh, I totally messed it up. There we go. Okay. Now, the reason why the point I've been trying to make for the last like 10 minutes is that the popping that you see.
I built this giant cannon for this year's Christmas lectures.
Of them popping it.
Smoke around the edges. And so the smoke on the edges starts to...
Of them popping it. Pop. That is like the popping, the quick, energetic popping of the electron. That is what is the mechanism boop, boop, that is driving the vortex. And if you do it any slower than its maximum speed for whatever reason, I haven't figured this out yet. I don't know everything yet. Then what you get is instead of a loop coming out, if you don't have the maximum speed, what you get is a unattached loop, so it appears. Where this, probably you could argue the photon would look more like this. Boop, 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 pop. Now guess what? What happens if you take this and you fold it back in on itself and make it... God, I suck at this. A loop. You get a loop. When you take a photon, which is unbound, and you go fast enough with this electron, so fast with the pop, that you are actually forcing the electric and magnetic field to interact with itself in a manner where it loops back on itself, you now get a loop in the form of a vortex. Okay? I told you this shit was going to get deep. So, and keep in mind, all photons have the same energy, so they're all just unconnected loops of energy that wants to be an electron to make a loop. Okay? Now, okay, what do we got here? Now that I got that point out. Oh, God, how many points to go? Okay, here's another thing, okay? I talked about the faster you make the vortex spin, the more stable it is. Okay? Now you might be saying, so Sean, you're telling me that the vortex of the electron runs at the speed of light? It could, but what I think is really happening is that when this electron is going down, boop, boop, the speed it's going is not the speed of light, because I mentioned it's the fine structure constant. It can only go at 1/137th of the speed of light. Okay? So when it does that, and it loops back on itself at that speed, boop, boop, 1/137th speed of light, that is probably the speed that the electron that it spins or spawns is spinning. It is not the speed of light, but 1/137th the speed of light, around there. It depends on the atom. It's not a constant. It changes depending on the atom. Okay, 1/137 is just the baseline of the simplest atom, hydrogen. But they are about the same. I'm pretty sure they're all about the same. Like shouldn't be too much more. Okay? So the speed of our vortex spinning is not the speed of light, but 1/137th the speed of light, which is still pretty damn fast. Okay? Now keep in mind, I showed it you. I did it. I showed it you. The vortex going at like the speed of sound. Okay? And you can see how beautiful and how strong and coherent that bad boy is, that it can go the speed of sound all the way to the clouds faster than, and still have the ability to break them up and just destroy them. Okay? Now imagine a vortex going 1/137th the speed of light. How strong and coherent that would be. Think about it. It's almost too much for the human mind to comprehend. That's how strong it would be, okay? It's huge numbers, my man. Huge numbers, okay? So, I have to throw that out there, okay? The calculated time of the primary electron moved down its own diameter. Okay, yeah, we covered that. Which speed is probably speed of vortex, blah, blah, the speed of light, fall back, no stop. Okay, yeah, we got that. Okay. Okay, and address the inconsistency. I did that. Okay. The speed of electron, we're going 1/37 the speed of light, down on each other to make a stable vortex as compared to a gamma ray. Okay. Yeah. Did I even? I think I messed something here. Oh, wow. No one's perfect. Stable vortex as compared to a gamma ray. I don't know what I was trying to talk about there. I was high. I was so high, dude. I'm sorry. I lose a lot of stuff with my memory these days. Even photons of vortex. Okay, all right. Okay. So, this is the conundrum, okay? We have a choice to make with this new theory. I told you that photons are not looped and electrons are. That could be a lie. I could be wrong, okay? Because there's two ways that energy can be dispersed as this vortex is making it, okay? As it goes down, boop, boop, it might not be a mechanism of how fast it's going to create the vortex and the loop back on itself. It could just simply be, it's possible, I'm not saying this is the case, but it's possible, that every single photon, every single bit of energy that's ever released from the vortex of an electron is released in a vortex form. It's just instead of having a nice circular vortex, it would be a long, skinny, weak vortex where it's like very skinny and very long and stretched out, okay? To the length of what we know photons or, radio waves, whatever wavelength you're going. That could be the situation. It's possible photons are actual vortexes too. But I don't think they are. Okay? I think we're going to go into that. If I know past me, I'm going to explain this a little bit. Okay. Okay. Now, what it could be, though, what I think it is that photons are not looped. Only electrons are looped from the maximum speed, whatever mechanism, interplay, and foldback mechanism that creates to make the vortex. Now, if photons were looped, this is the main reason why I don't think they are looped. Okay, I'm not saying they're not, but I don't think they are. Because, excuse me, if they were looped, then you would expect gamma rays, which are, like, this is a good representation right here, okay? I want you to look at this. Let's say this is the size of a gamma ray. And you notice it's just a hair bigger than the size of the electron. Okay? Now, these two are just far away from being each other. They're so close from being each other. But they behave radically different. And so that tells me that there is some significant, huge structural difference to a gamma ray than an electron. Okay? And the difference is the gamma ray is not looped and the electron is looped, making a vortex. That's what I believe. Because if all photons were looped like electrons, then you would expect a gamma ray to behave similar to an electron. Maybe not identical, maybe it wouldn't be good enough for chemistry and whatnot, but you would expect it to have some sort of similar properties, okay? but they don't really seem to that much. So I think that's the main difference between the two, what's going on, all right? Now, okay, here we are. Now we're going into electron spin, okay? Now, electrons have spin. We know this. We've measured this. I'm not making this up. They have a left spin and a right spin. Now, neutrinos only have like a left spin. And I've explained what that is on my lecture on neutrinos, even though they're identical to electrons. Go back and watch it. Great mind-blowing episode. Now, but electrons can have left spin or right spin. And physics will tell you, we know that the electron is not spinning because it would have to spin faster than the speed of light to have that kind of spin. But we know that it does have spin because of the way it interplays and interacts with magnetic fields. It has to have spin. There's spinning, but yet it's not spinning. Okay? Well, let me ask you this. A vortex clearly is spinning, right? It's spinning. So it is 100% spinning. But yet, at the same time, it's forming one solid entity that's acting as a whole that's not spinning. But yet, it is clearly spinning. Now, this spin, let's say, let's delete this stuff, okay? Let's delete this right here. This spin, let's say we have a vortex that is spinning this way. Boop, 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 bop, beep, bop, beep, beep, bop, 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 boop, bop, beep, doop, doop. Okay? We have a vortex that is spinning as a normal vortex spins, inside out. This is how vortexes spin normally. But they can also spin the other way too. It doesn't have to be this way. So what we can have are two electrons that are spinning. This one would be going in like this. Okay? So we have two vortexes spinning completely different directions, okay? Now, if we try and overlap these together, it's not going to fit, right? Because look at this. They're going the wrong direction, okay? This one is going from outside in, and this one's going from inside out. They're opposites. You cannot add these two together, okay? But as we've seen from our vape video, they really don't like to add together normally anyways, all right? So if we have two electrons, let's say, so let's say we have another. I know I sing when I draw. I'm a weirdo. Deal with it. Okay. So you could say, but son, what if we just put it? Well, these have boundaries, okay? As we approach these two, look what's happening here. This vortex is going up on its perimeter, and this vortex is going down. They're fighting each other. They don't want to add. They're fighting each other. They don't want to add. Okay? But yes, they could do that. They could, if they could get over the repulsionary energy, it would be possible. But they don't want to have that same polarity. What the universe, it does want to do oh, look at that. Oh, did I just blow your mind? Did I just blow your mind? Boop, boop, boop. Okay. Now, look at this. Once again, they don't normally want to combine because this is going down and this is going up. They're fighting each other. But guess what? Once we add them together, once we get over the energy necessary to combine them, like say an atom finding equilibrium, trying to fit 2 electrons in the same orbital shell, and only 2 can fit in one shell, and this is why. Because you can have, look at this, when they add them together, guess what? They're both making the same swirly motion. Look at this. They're both going the same swirly motion. So these 2 vortexes can indeed add. They can combine together. But only if one is coming from a completely different polarity and direction. It has to come from a different direction on polarity for them to add. Now, not all electrons have this, but yet electron chemistry will force this. So, we know that say you have 2 electrons. Oh my God, what am I doing? I suck. You have 2 electrons, right? And they want to occupy the same orbital so that the nucleus will be happy. Nucleus like, but they don't want to add. So what they will do, instead of just adding this way, I don't know why, I don't know everything. Instead of just adding like this, boop, boop, if they're both the same direction, it will flip it like that, and then add them. So then what you got is these 2 will add like this. Instead of having these 2 add like that, okay? So but it takes energy to do that, but that's just simply the nucleus finding equilibrium. It will spend that energy to make that chemical bond if it results in equilibrium, and it could be an exothermic or endothermic reaction that comes out of that interplay, releasing photonic energy or absorbing. Who knows? Okay? So, we now have explained why electrons have spin and why you can have 2 electrons in the same orbital stacking on top of each other. And guess what? This also explains quantum entanglement. I hate to break it to you. I understand that the Bell's experiment, math, wizardry, statistical math, claimed, well, we've got we've got when we microdose the experiment, so that could hidden variables. Listen, dude, I took statistics 1 and 2. All I can say is it's extremely unintuitive, and I don't trust anybody's math in that shit. Sorry, I don't. I don't. But I know this. Dynamic gravity says there is no quantum entanglement. It's hidden variables, okay? This is quantum entanglement. You're bringing 2 photons, 2 electrons. I don't even know. Maybe if quarks are vortexes, you could even entangle theoretically entire atoms if they are. I'm still looking at that. I don't know. But yeah. So this explains quantum entanglement too. This is what's going on. Like I said, it will force this one if they're both going the same direction, and when it's a force to add, it will swap and counter the other one, make it the other polarity, make it a left spin instead of a right spin, or vice versa. Excuse me. My brain damage. I know it's bad. I know it's bad. I think we're approaching home base here, boys. So that's what's going on. Okay, that's how that explains quantum entanglement, and that explains electron spin. Okay, when it's not actually spinning, but it really is spinning because it is really spinning. Okay, that's what's going on. Okay. Now, okay, vortex are the same direction or together. blah. Aside from normal, can't be right. Da, da, da. Only spinning fast electrons will be spinning other direction. If you guys want to see my notes here, I'll show you real quick how my brain works. I am a woohoo Zor. See, this is how I think. This is all the stuff I'm working on. Every time I came up with an idea the last few months, this is the document I used just to write all my notes and everything. And you can see I've come up with quite a lot of ideals. Some of them are duds, some of them are not. Some of these are things I'm going to throw at you later on, like curveballs, baby. Pay attention. Okay. So where are we at? We are at her. Okay. Okay. Vortex. Man, what do we got here? Oh, man. All right, I'm going to go back here so we can show you stuff again. I just wanted to show you what my brain works like. Because I'm a weirdo. I'm a weirdo. Okay. Only way they can add, okay, aside from no, it can't be right, blah, blah, blah. But when electrons share the same orbital, electrons will have its vortex direction flipped inside out if needed for equilibrium. Okay, we should remember that. Electrons near the nucleus will be compressed to a point. Okay, yeah, calm, we did that. Somehow the vortex is self-propagating and hence wants to go the speed of light. Okay, so this is a realization that I've come to the last couple months, diving into all of this stuff that I've been figuring out. Photons always want to go the speed of light. They always want to go the speed of light. You can't even slow them down. But if you could slow down photon, which you can't, they would go back to the speed of light immediately. They always are propelling themselves at the speed of light. It's a self-propagation. And the reason why is because, like I said, it comes down to this whole thing we went into, where the electric field spawns the magnetic field, which spawns the electric field, and it all does it very, very rapidly and quickly. Somehow this spawning of the field over and over and over again is propelling the electron at the speed of light, or the photon. Well, what I've realized is that electrons are also want to go the speed of light always, because they're photons too. They always, and neutrinos. If you were to take an electron, okay, and you were to capture a free-going electron at, let's say, the speed of light in the vacuum of space. It's not really going the speed of light because gravitational fields are going to slow it down. But it's going to be going, it wants to go the speed of light, but it can't because it's an electron, and it's affected by gravity, unlike the neutrino, well, which is affected by gravity in a reverse way. It's different. So the electron is always spinning with these fields propagating back in on themselves that is propelling itself. It wants to go at the speed of light. Now, if, let's say, we capture an electron, let's say a cloud that's a giant vortex, it's huge, like quantum mechanics says they want to be, and then we have a nucleus that captures that electron and brings it into a valence shell. Now it's a vortex. Not a point particle yet, but a vortex, all right? And we slow it down to remember the speed, the maximum speed that an electron can go in the presence of a proton is 1 over 137 the speed of light, okay? Now, if that electron were to be freed chemically or whatever from that bond of that atom or molecule and then just go back into the vacuum of space or whatever, it is going to accelerate back up to whatever speed it had before it interacted chemically with that molecular atom, okay? And this is because the momentum of electrons is not given to them after creation, and that's the only momentum they have, and if you slow them down, they're always slow. You cannot slow an electron down and have it just gently fall in your hand. They don't want to do that, okay? They want to always be going the speed of light. So even if you were to slow it down by, say, locking this electron into a chemical bond where now, it can't go that fast, or may not go at all anywhere, it might be frozen, it's just stuck, between these three guys, not able to move anywhere, it just whenever it does get freed eventually and resumes, back into its, freedom lifestyle, it's going to want to go, it's going to propel itself back up to its maximum speed, wanting that to be the speed of light. But it's not going to be able to do that as long as it's in the presence of a gravitational field, which permeates the entire universe. So no electron's ever going to be able to go to the speed of light as long as it's in the gravitational field. But my theory clearly states, if you could shield an electron of all gravity, that electron is now going to want to go to the speed of light all the time. And if you dump in extra energy into it somehow, you are going to make it go faster than the speed of light. But only if you're in the absence of all gravitational fields, which, as far as we know, really doesn't exist anywhere in our universe. Maybe in the deep, dark regions of the voids of space. Maybe. I don't even know that. And I know everything. Almost. Okay? That's an important point that we have to address. Okay? Now, I think we're almost done here. Okay, also, 2 more points we got, but we're almost done, boys. 2 more points. With this ideal that electron is a vortex that can be split. Remember, like this guy, he took it. Where was the one? Oh, he did it. I want to see the one where he like split it into 2. Remember? I don't think it was that one. No, it wasn't that one. Maybe it was this one. Okay, you see that? See how we just split it and made that one keep on going? And add it to it? It's not really the one I wanted to see. Dude, you got too many tricks, bro. You need to show me the one trick I want to see, son. It's like Puff the Magic Dragon. Oh, wow, look at that. That looks so cool. Here we go. This is it right here. It was all worth it because I found it. Sorry I made you wait, but here it is. Okay, look at this. Boom, boom, boom. Go. Split it in half. Booyah. 2 vortexes. They can now interact with each other. Guess what? This is the explanation for the double slit experiments, where they say that the electron basically divides, it gets split in half by the slit, and then somehow interacts with each other to form this wave function. It's because apparently you can split a vortex. It doesn't want to split, but you can do it under certain circumstances, like the double slit experiment. And now you might ask me, Sean, okay, well, but why does that when you look at it and when you don't look at it, it doesn't do that. I had this all figured out last night when I was high. I can't remember now. Oh, damn it. I need more drugs. I need all the drugs. I need them all. Well, I had it all figured out. I'll figure it out again later. I'm like that. I do that. But anyways, this explains also why electrons, particularly, and photons, can be split and interact with each other. Because the vortex, while stable, is not 100% rigid. It's not like it's indivisible. It can be divided, as you can see. It just takes certain circumstances, like he did, to do it, okay? But it can be done. 100% it can be done, okay? Now, I think we only got one more point. This is all this heavily implies that the concepts of fields like quantum field theory is actually our best guess on how things work on an extremely subatomic level. I have been taking the approach for the last 3 years that it was all virtual particles being emitted from point particles. But in light of my recent revelations into the understandings of neutrinos and electrons, I am now forced into a compromising situation where I have to admit that the only way I can explain all these things is if quantum field theory has some basis in reality, and actually the way that it describes things is accurate on some level. So I guess now me and quantum mechanics are friends again. I hate those losers. So that's it, man. That's all the points. That's all the points I wanted to hit today. And I know this is the longest episode ever, an hour and 45 minutes going. I'm so sorry that I pitched you through this, but if you stuck through this the whole time, did I not deliver? Did I not follow through on my promise to enlighten you into all the ways of the electron where now you understand it intimately, like a lover? I deliver when I show up. So, on that, I bid you guys farewell. I don't know when I'm going to do my next episode. I got a few more things in the pipeline I want to throw at you, but I pretty much conquered all of known physics with this last episode. There's nothing left, really. There's no big mysteries left. It's just little nuanced details I have to work out that I really don't care, because I'd rather get high and play World of Warcraft, and that's who I am. And I'm sorry. I am what I am, dude. I don't care. Get over it. But anyways, I love you all the same. Thank you for your attention, and I will hit you on the flip side. Adios, muchachos. Peace, whiskeys.
Like, subscribe, submit.